Enemy's legacy began in 1985, and more than 4 decades later, the Rock and Roll Hall of Famers will bring the revolutionary energy to the 2026 Essence Festival. Their set will span their entire career. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new chili crisp dumplings paired with a premium beverage drink like our new strawberry watermelon lemonade energy refresher, both for just $5 only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
6 days ago, the Lakers were up 3-0 on the Houston Rockets and appeared to be ready to close them out for the season. Today, the Lakers are in the uncomfortable position of having to go back to Houston for Game 6 Friday night. The Lakers are in this position after losing to the Rockets 99-93 Wednesday night in Game 5 at Crypto.com. The Lakers have a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series, but their momentum at the moment is non-existent. Even without Kevin Durant, the Rockets still had their way with the Lakers defense. All 5 Rockets starters scored in double figures. LeBron tried to do his part with 25 points and 7 assists. Austin Reeves, playing in his first game since April 2nd, had 22 points off the bench, but Reeves' return had little effect on the outcome. Later today, the Lakers will board their charter flight to Houston. Along the way, they need to figure out how to get one more win against the Rockets. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X. That's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavisSmileyShow.com. That's thetavisSmileyShow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, conversation with U of M Professor Kishonna Gray about the links between video games, violence, and race as we face more political violence in America. It turns out that watching violent black video game characters, back that up again, turns out that watching violent black video game characters increases unconscious bias in white viewers. You might have also seen or read that the suspect charged in the assassination attempt of Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner shifted from posts about video games to political rage. There are questions then today about how he got radicalized, as it were, perhaps, by the video games he was playing. Anyway, we'll talk about it. We'll go deep on it, as a matter of fact, for the hour with Kishonna Gray. In hour two, there's some fascinating data, research around this particular issue. We'll do that again in our second hour. In our third hour, two more conversations. Up first,
Your lips were like a red and ruby chalice, warmer than a summer night. The clouds were like an alabaster palace, rising to a snowy height. Each star its own aurora borealis. Suddenly you held me tight. I could see the midnight sun.
she sounds so good. I hate stepping on Dee Dee Bridgewater. But today is International Jazz Day. And so, the triple Grammy and Tony Award-winning jazz master, Dee Dee Bridgewater, joins us on the top side of Hour 3 to celebrate America's greatest export. I look forward to the top of Hour 3. On the B side of Hour 3, the fight back continues, a conversation with AFT, American Federation of Teachers, President Randi Weingarten, about all the May Day demonstrations scheduled for this Friday across the nation. But in this first hour, two more conversations. We're going to squeeze an 80-pound show into a 40-pound bag today. Help me, Jesus. On the B side of this hour, we'll get the CBC's response to yesterday's ambush of the Voting Rights Act by the High Court from the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. But we commenced today's show in dialogue with Amherst Professor Austin Sarat about the Supreme Court and all the havoc they keep wreaking. Not that I care to hear, not that you care to hear, but this is his court. He is the president. Here is Donald Trump, for starters, with his reaction to SCOTUS's decision yesterday.
Mr. President, I want to go back to the Supreme Court ruling on the Voting Rights Act. I know you said you haven't seen it.
When did it come out? Just now?
No, it came out this morning, but basically very much narrows the Voting Rights Act.
Was it considered a win for who?
A win for Republicans.
I love it.
But my question...
This is a very good... We can end this news conference right now. I want to read it.
My question for you, Mr. President, is that some Republican governors have not responded in terms of what they're going to do. I guess early voting, for example, in Louisiana
Republican governors what?
Republican governors.
What about it?
Early voting begins Saturday there, for instance. Should they redraw the map in the next couple of
I
months?
would. I mean, it depends. I mean, some states don't need to redraw, and some do. I mean, I know what the concept of the ruling. I just haven't seen the result. Yeah, I would say generally I would think that they would want to do it. Some are greatly helped and some, it didn't make much difference. Yeah, I would say they would do that. They have time to do it. Yeah.
So I don't know where to start. I'm just going to say a couple of things and push this conversation forward and let Professor Sarat sound off on that and a few other issues I want to get to with him in the time that I have. But first of all, this is the President of the United States. This is a major decision that aids and abets the suppression, the election suppression, the voting suppression that he's been behind all along. He's being asked about this late in the afternoon. You heard his first response? When did it come out? Did it come out today? Like what? When? Is it a win for us? Are you serious? I mean, it just the onset of that conversation makes it abundantly clear Donald Trump is clueless. It is the afternoon. He has no idea that it came out. He has no idea what it says, no idea if it's in favor of Republicans. But then he goes on to opine, well, I would redraw the maps if I were them. Don't get me started. And yet, I got to get started because I got 3 hours in front of me. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Every day, somebody somewhere is trying to silence the truth. Not on this show. For over 3 decades now, Tavis Smiley has been bringing you the conversations that matter, the voices that challenge, the ideas that move us forward. From the halls of power to the heart of the community, Tavis covers it all. Real talk in real time. This is Tavis Smiley.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon?
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Hi, I'm Fred Martin, founder of Compton Kids Club. I just want to talk about the authenticity and tell y'all about my homeboy, Tom Steyer. Tom is a rock star. When I met him, Tom gave a grant to schools in San Francisco. All the kids were on probation. We were flying instructors for 2 years to come and help those kids doing performing arts and turning their life around. Some of the kids that he supported, they've graduated from UCLA. Let's fast forward. Tom is in schools in Compton, hanging out with the kids in the piano classes. Brother Tom Steyer hangs out in the studio with us. These are the seeds that he's planted. This has nothing to do with elections. What's coming out of his mouth is not a campaign speech. It's authentic, and when he say he walks away from a business because he want to do his values, he ain't making that up because he's running for governor. This man is real.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Yeah, I don't want to step on train either, but I got to take a giant step forward to get this conversation going. See what I did there, you jazz lovers? Giant steps. Coltrane, 1960. Today is International Jazz Day, and so we're going to be weaving in and out of all these conversations with these great guests today. Some amazing music from some jazz masters. Dee Dee Bridgewater joins us in the third hour, but we're going to squeeze in as much jazz as we can all 3 hours today. Professor Sarat, thank you for your patience, sir. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
It's an honor to have you on this program. There are a few things I want to cover with you, but let me start with the obvious, the decision yesterday. You heard me say moments ago that I invited you on in part to help us unpack this havoc that SCOTUS keeps wreaking on the American people. We're paying a heavy price for this 63 split on the court. But without saying any more, your opening salvo, your thoughts about what we witnessed yesterday.
Well, it's like the knockout punch in a fight that's been going on for quite a while. I mean, the Supreme Court has been going after the Voting Rights Act little by little for quite a while. It seems to have been Chief Justice Roberts' pet project to gut the Voting Rights Act. What they did yesterday was they made it almost impossible now to prove that there's racial discrimination in the drawing of legislative districts by saying that from this point forward, anyone alleging such discrimination would have to provide proof that the districts were drawn in order to racially discriminate. Well, as anybody that lives in 21st century America knows, there's far too much overt racism, but much of it is now driven underground. And what the court has really done is to take us back really decades, as if proving intentional discrimination would be an adequate remedy for the structural racism and other factors that stand in the way of full participation in the American political system.
Yeah. Let me go back to your original comment, first thing out of your mouth, about John Roberts. No naivete here, but you study these things better than most of us. That's why you're the expert and why we invited you on this program to ask you this. Why has John Roberts always been so hostile to Voting Rights Act? Why is that? Why are many seeing this now as the crown jewel of whatever he's been able to accomplish so far, his eventual and final gutting of the VRA? Why has he been so hostile to it? Why the animosity toward this particular piece of seminal legislation?
Well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt and not talk about his personal motivations. I don't know what they would be personally. He's had a very clear sense, really from the time they came on the court. It manifests itself in many places, including the affirmative action cases, that discrimination is something that happens to an individual. It is done by one person to another person. He's been uninterested in looking at systems or structures or institutions in which racial discrimination is embedded. So I think there's been a consistency. You want to show that you were discriminated against? Fine. You got to show me the smoking gun. If you can, we'll give you a remedy. If you can't, sorry.
How much more difficult now is it going to be to figure out a way? I mean, there's always people always, every time the court renders a decision, we have to try to figure out an end run. How do we get around this? And let me just back up and say the first way to address this, and I raised this yesterday when this came out, this decision that is, the first way to address this is that black people in particular have to exercise our right to vote, our precious right to vote, our sacred right to vote at levels that we have not heretofore expressed or experienced. I quoted my friend yesterday, the late, great Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., who said repeatedly to me, Tavis, our people, we lose too many elections by the simple margin of our absence at the polls. That's Jesse Jackson. That we lose 20 elections by the simple margin of our absence at the polls. I am the first to tell you that I don't think voting is everything. It ain't the end-all, be-all. It is one of the tools in our toolbox for equality and justice. I don't like it when people say that this is the most important day of your life, second only to Judgment Day, Election Day. This is the most important election ever. You say that time and time again. It's so well worn. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that. So we need to stop all that. What we do need to say is that the only way to remedy what the Supreme Court did yesterday is to turn out in record numbers. Here's my point. On a certain level, it doesn't matter so much what they did yesterday if we turn out consistently in record numbers. I said for the most part. I'll come back to the other part a little bit later. But here's my point for Professor Sarat here. Is there an end run here, or other than what I just said about us voting in record numbers from here through eternity, from now forward? Beyond that, am I missing something? Is there another way for this to be addressed, Professor Sarat?
There are three ways. First, in the best of all possible worlds, the Congress of the United States would enact legislation to correct what the United States Supreme Court has done. That's number one. Number two, states can do the very same thing. And number three is what you just said, which is it'll be up to people across the country, people of color, Black people, to show that they are not going to allow their right to vote to be abridged or taken away. Now, we have to be candid. The deck will be stacked in many congressional districts. I would not be surprised if, as a result of this decision, the number of Black people in the United States Congress dropped dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
But pressure Congress, go to state legislatures, and turn out to vote.
So I mentioned a moment ago, we're going to be joined by the chair of the CBC, Yvette Clarke, on the back side of this hour. That'll be about, 10, 15 minutes from now, 10 or 12 minutes from now. She'll be on after I finish with Professor Sarat here, who I'm honored to have lead us off today with his brilliance. But we'll talk to her and put these questions to her specifically. But I said yesterday, and frankly, as his audience knows, I said many, many months ago, knowing that this decision was coming at some point, couldn't imagine that it wouldn't be what it was yesterday. I said many, many months ago in this program that the number of CBC members is going to dwindle dramatically, and we are now at that point. Professor Sarat and I, Smiley and Sarat and Smiley, agree on that particular point. But here's what does bother me, and I was saying this to a friend of mine last night. Excuse me. So, to my point about Black people voting in record numbers, and I'm going to stand on that, and I'm going to keep preaching that from now for as long as I have a microphone, because we need to do that to respond to what SCOTUS did yesterday. But to your point, if the numbers of African-American districts, as they are presently drawn, dwindle, diminish significantly, Black people can be intentional about voting. But at the end of the day, what does it really mean if the folk we're voting for don't look like us? That is not to suggest that the good white folk can't show up and do the right thing. But I'm always inclined, if I can, to put an African-American into office, because I believe that when the stuff hits the fan, at least they're going to make the right decision, a decision that is in my best interest and not be a part of an agenda that is antithetical to my best interest. I always have reason to want to put more Black people into office, and I ain't the only Negro that feels that way, obviously, listening to this conversation right now. So we can turn out and vote in record numbers, but it doesn't mean that we can elect more African Americans, Professor Sarat, and that's also part of the problem.
It's a big part of the problem, Tavis, and again, it requires a lot of local activism and a lot of organizing to say to political parties, in particular the Democratic Party, that when they put up candidates, they need to be aware of who that candidate is. So candidates don't just spring out of nowhere, and parties need to get behind the idea that the candidates they should put up should look like America. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court, I think their image of what America looks like is maybe an America that's white, and they think that that's enough.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to have a representation of Black people, of people across this country that make up the great diversity that makes us a strong and powerful and desirable place to live, we need to be organized, we need to be active, and we need to stand up for the proposition that parties need to put forward Black candidates.
Yeah.
And then the mobilization needs to occur.
So I'm talking at this very moment, just for a second here, Professor Sarat, I'm talking to Black people right now, so you can stand down for just a second here. This is my commentary to my people. Here's what also concerns me. I'm concerned on the one hand that even though I'm encouraging us to vote in record numbers to send a message to this country and to the Supreme Court that we will not be hemmed up just because you voted to gut the Voting Rights Act. That's one way, and you heard Professor Sarat say earlier rather brilliantly and eloquently, there are three ways here. Congress could step up, and they won't. The states can step up, and they won't. Number three, it comes to us to vote. So there are three ways, but only one of them is reasonable in my mind, and again, reasonable only if we take Jesse Jackson seriously and stop losing elections by the margin of our absence at the polls. But at least the third answer is on us. We have some agency in that. Here's my other concern, though. I'm all for the good white people understanding that they need to start being more serious about putting up Black candidates for high office all across this country. But here's what scares me. When you start putting up Black candidates who have to run in white districts and in white spaces, it oftentimes means on demand they're going to be less Black. And to the Black folk I'm talking to right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I am not demonizing or casting aspersion on Barack Obama, but he wasn't the blackest. Wes Moore won in Maryland, but he's catching Hades on his shifting position on reparations. Y'all take my point. I'm going to stop for now. I ain't got time to dig into this right now the way I want to. I'll spend an hour on this at a later time. But there is a way in which we can push the good white folk to nominate more Black candidates for high office, because obviously we can do it. We can be president, we can be governor, we can be anything we want to be. No question about that. But I'm concerned about the kind of candidates that we get in Black when they know they can't win without a bunch of white votes, and what that means for the agenda that they're going to run if they get in. I ain't got time for that right now. I just want to put that out there. We'll come back to it at a later time on this program. But here's my question, Professor Sarat, for you. I want to phrase this the right way. It seems to me that with the gutting of this act yesterday, the Supreme Court, under Roberts' leadership, has made it abundantly clear that they are no longer, as if they ever were, interested in expanding rights. Everything now, every decision they make, speaking of wreaking havoc, is about shrinking rights. And America at its best, to my mind, you're the expert here, has always been about the expanding of rights, not the shrinking of rights. So what do I take these decisions day after day, year after year to mean about the way this country is going to be viewed, the way we're going to operate a few years down the road?
Tavis, I think we have to walk and chew gum at the same time. We have to be cold-eyed and realistic about what is going on. But all political action requires a kind of faith. A faith in a future that we cannot see, a faith that arguments will prevail, even if in the moment they don't. And what you said before about Black candidates, I think is another illustration of the walking and chewing gum.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it would be great if we could have the perfect representatives of who we are and who we want to be, but the perfect is the enemy of the possible. And right now, we are in a struggle to hold on to what is possible so that we can then move forward towards perfection.
Yep. I got 45 tight seconds here. Can you just say a quick word about this piece I saw you write, beautiful piece, I learned a lot reading it, about the fate of America's presidential records in the hands of the court?
What's happened is that the Presidential Records Act, the Justice Department has said the president can do whatever he wants with the records. It's now up to the courts to step in and say that interpretation is wrong. We know what Donald Trump likes to do with presidential records: rip them up, put them in the toilet, take them with him to Mar-a-Lago. So this is a fight for history itself.
Yeah. very quickly here, as an expert in this lane, how concerned, how bothered, you picked the right word, are you about the way this court keeps showing up?
Well, on a scale of 10, I'm a 12.
I'll leave it there. I think I'm with you. 12, maybe I may even be a 15. I don't know. Austin Sarat is an attorney, writer, professor at Amhearst. Honored to have had him on this program to kick off what is going to be a spirited show. Professor Sarat, thank you for your time, sir. All the best. You will do it again.
Tavis, thank you for having me.
My honor, sir. We move from Austin Sarat to Yvette Clarke, chair of the CBC. What's the CBC got to say about the impending reality that their numbers are going to drop dramatically? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Who's sitting across from Tavis this week? Leaders, legends, game changers. The people shaping the country and the culture. They come to Tavis Smiley because this is where the real conversations happen. No spin, no fluff. Just straight talk and straight answers. Tavis Smiley. Because the Kingian question, where do we go from here, starts right here.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A black man from Brooklyn seen being beaten by undercover NYPD detectives is suing for $100 million. Timothy Brown says officers mistook him for a suspect and used excessive force, leaving him physically and emotionally scarred.
It was wrong and it was disgusting. And my life will never be the same.
City officials call the incident disturbing as the investigation continues. The city of Boston is settling a lawsuit tied to a 2020 George Floyd protest. The city will pay $850,000 to 4 demonstrators who say police used excessive force, including pepper spray and batons. And Dave Chappelle is headlining 3 nights of comedy during Netflix's A Jokes Festival. He'll take over the Hollywood Palladium May 7th through 9th with tickets on sale now. The festival runs May 4th through 10th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new chili crisp dumplings paired with a premium beverage drink like our new strawberry watermelon lemonade energy refresher, both for just $5 only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
6 days ago, the Lakers were up 3-0 on the Houston Rockets and appeared to be ready to close them out for the season. Today, the Lakers are in the uncomfortable position of having to go back to Houston for Game 6 Friday night. The Lakers are in this position after losing to the Rockets 99-93 Wednesday night in Game 5 at Crypto.com. The Lakers have a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series, but their momentum at the moment is non-existent. Even without Kevin Durant, the Rockets still had their way with the Lakers defense. All 5 Rockets starters scored in double figures. LeBron tried to do his part with 25 points and 7 assists. Austin Reeves, playing in his first game since April 2nd, had 22 points off the bench, but Reeves' return had little effect on the outcome. Later today, the Lakers will board their charter flight to Houston. Along the way, they need to figure out how to get one more win against the Rockets. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. Things are changing fast and no one knows what comes next. Times like these make you realize just how important it is to be prepared. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. They're America's #1 most trusted resource for survival food, solar power, water filtration systems, and more. Go to preparewithamerica.com to unlock a special offer that'll help you get ready for whatever comes our way. Go to preparewithamerica.com to see the special offer right now. That's preparewithamerica.com.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want and skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
He's my guy. I don't care what he does, 'cause he's my guy. I guess he always was. He's careless about me. I don't think he tries. But once in a while he'll hug me and smile, then I can see me in his eyes. Oh, he's my guy. I know he'll always be, and I will try to keep him loving me however he wants me. I'm his until I die, for nobody knows better than I that he's my guy.
It's Sarah Vaughan and Clifford Brown, He's My Guy. That's 1955. Sarah Vaughan sounding good, Clifford Brown sounding good. Today is International Jazz Day, and so it gives us an excuse, you know me, any excuse to play music, I'll take it. So we're going to weave in all 3 hours today, some of the best. I'm looking at my list here, my playlist that Miles has given me. I see John Coltrane. We played some Coltrane earlier. I see Horace Silver. I see Ella Fitzgerald. I see Thelonious Monk, Wayne Shorter, Billie Holiday, Count Basie. We got a list for you. We're going to weave in as much as we can over the next 3 hours. In the last hour of today's program, Dee Dee Bridgewater, speaking of jazz masters, Tony winner, Grammy winner, Dee Dee Bridgewater comes with us. Comes to us in our third and final hour today as we celebrate again International Jazz Day. I said earlier that jazz is clearly America's greatest export. Go anywhere in the world, and there's nothing that we have given the world quite like jazz. And so it's always an honor for us to spend some time in celebration of what we black folk have given the world through our music. All right, so I'm going to talk to Yvette Clarke, the chair of the CBC, here in just a second. Before I get to her, we started this hour playing a clip of Donald Trump reacting to the decision yesterday in the Supreme Court, the decision gutting the Voting Rights Act. As a matter of fact, let me just do a quick mouse. Hold on, I want to get to this clip from Hakeem Jeffries in just a second. But I want to read. I just had my hand on it a second ago. I want to read what Barack Obama had to say yesterday about this. Here it is. Let me read from our former president, Barack Obama. As you know, Barack Obama, prior to becoming president, was himself a constitutional law professor. We all know his resume, right? Went to Harvard, before that Columbia, but was himself a professor of constitutional law in Chicago before being elected. Here's what he said yesterday, and I quote from President Obama. Today's Supreme Court decision effectively guts a key pillar of the Voting Rights Act. Let me pause for a second. I'm glad he went with gut and not weaken. I said yesterday, we got to stop saying weaken. This doesn't weaken, it guts it. So I'm glad the president took my word, guts, and not weakens like everybody else. Again, I start over. Today's Supreme Court decision effectively guts a key pillar of the Voting Rights Act, freeing state legislatures to gerrymander legislative districts to systematically dilute and weaken the voting power of racial minorities, so long as they do it under the guise of partisanship rather than explicit racial bias. And it serves as just one more example of how a majority of the current court seems intent on abandoning its vital role in ensuring equal participation in our democracy and protecting the rights of minority groups against majority overreach. The good news is that such setbacks can be overcome, but that will only happen if citizens across the country who cherish our democratic ideals continue to mobilize and vote in record numbers, not just in the upcoming midterms or in high-profile races, but in every election and every level. That is the comment yesterday. The post of President Barack Obama. I note it now has 58.7 million views. I ain't mad at him. 58.7 million people have read this, and now you've heard it as well if you hadn't already seen it. But he leans in as well on this notion that there is some good news here. This is not Armageddon, that we can push back on this so long as we vote in record numbers. Professor Sarat and I were just discussing that moments ago. You heard, if you were listening, that voting is but one tool in our toolbox. There's also what Congress can do, if they will, what the states can do if they choose to, and so it's on us, as it always has been, to show up for ourselves. And so voting is one way to make sure that the impact that they intend this gutting to have doesn't get actualized. So it's just one of our options. All right, so that's Barack Obama. You've heard me, you've heard Professor Sarat, and now this is the man who could be the first black Speaker of the House if Democrats take control come November, with his thoughts on this decision yesterday. This is Hakeem Jeffries.
Today's decision by this illegitimate Supreme Court majority strikes a blow against the Voting Rights Act and is designed to undermine the ability of communities of color all across this country to elect their candidate of choice. But we're not here to step back, we're here to fight back.
Yes.
Now, when this decision came out earlier today, it's an unacceptable decision, but not an unexpected decision. Because this isn't even really the Roberts Court. It's the Trump Court.
Yes.
And what we would expect from the Trump Court is an effort to continue their scheme to suppress the vote and rig the midterm elections and beyond. Because these extremists have failed America in every possible way. They failed on the economy, they failed on health care, they're failing as it relates to this reckless and costly war of choice. The extremists have completely and totally failed America.
That's right.
So they've concluded, aided and abetted by the Trump court, that they have to cheat to win.
When you can't get the chair of the CBC, you go a little higher, respectfully, and you get audio from the minority leader, who will be the majority leader if Democrats take back the House in November. So there's Hakeem Jeffries. When we come forward, I hope to hear from the CBC chair. We've been trying to track her down. Busy schedules, as you can imagine. I think we've got her now. Is that her, Miles? We'll get her, I hope. And if not, I got more to share with you. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
From Lamert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
What if your rooftop could earn you money every year? With LADWP's Solar Rooftops program, you can get solar panels installed and maintained on your home at no cost and earn up to $900 a year. That's up to $18,000 over 20 years. There are no upfront costs, no credit checks, and no annual fees. Plus, you'll help power Los Angeles with clean local solar energy and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Make your rooftop work for you. Apply today at ladwp.com/solar rooftops.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Kishonna Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
All right, I got her. She's the chair of the CBC, Congresswoman Yvette D. Clarke out of New York. So, Congresswoman, we're going to make the most of these 10 minutes that we have here. We got you on a little late, but we're going to take it and do the best we can. So here's my opening salvo, my opening question. We've been talking about it all day yesterday, all day on today's show. The inevitable is happening. Everybody knows that this decision yesterday means that we are going to, at some point, maybe not before the midterms, there's a lot of debate about that, but at some point we're going to see the numbers of the CBC dwindle, which is anybody happy about it. In fact, you now have your biggest numbers ever in the CBC, and at the moment, where there are more black folk in Congress than ever before, this decision means that number is going to drop. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's devastating. This is a devastating blow, not just to the members of the CBC, but to the various communities that we represent across this nation. It means that we will be seeing mega gerrymandering to basically erase the gains that we have made as people of African descent to actually have the ability to select representatives that come from our lived experiences. Mm-hmm. And so it's devastating, and, we've got to make sure that all Americans of goodwill understand the implications of this retrograde in the Supreme Court, and what this means for a multi-racial, multicultural democratic civil society.
What are, to your mind, I love the word, I'll give you a chance to unpack it here, what are, as you see it, the implications, to use your word, of this decision?
Well, the implications are, one, that we will see, particularly in the Deep South, a regression to a time where the dreams, the aspirations, the needs, and the policies that reflect those needs be curtailed, severely curtailed. Those voices won't be heard in Washington, D.C., and the vast majority of black folk still live in the Deep South. So, it's a real blow to all of our ancestors who gave so much to making sure that, through their sacrifice, we would have a Voting Rights Act that ensured that, again, our lived experiences are integrated into the policy making of the United States of America, and that we would have the ability to make sure that as policy is developed, at the table are individuals that understand what those implications are for people who have been discriminated against, who have been demonized in a society that they've helped build.
We talked earlier on today's program about the remedies, excuse me, as they exist to this decision yesterday. In no particular order, there are at least three options we have. One is that Congress could fix this. Number two, the states could address this individually. And number three, the obvious that you and I have already talked about, is that black people have to vote now in record numbers. President Obama said that yesterday. So many of us have been saying that. I've been quoting Jesse Jackson, the late great Jesse Jackson, who said, Congresswoman Clarke, many times that we are losing too many elections by the simple margin of our absence at the polls. And so we have to start voting in record numbers. We have some agency on that third issue, and so we'll handle that. But when it comes to Congress, when it comes to the states, ain't nobody holding their breath. But clearly the Supreme Court is hostile to voting rights, but Congress and the states could fix it. What say you about that? They could.
We could certainly fix it. I know at the state level, in various states, there have been voting rights advancement acts passed. We have it in the state of New York, where I'm from, named after my dearly departed colleague, John Lewis. And so there are other states across this nation that can ensure voting rights for their people. But the Congress also has a role. And we have to reform the current version of the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. And when we take the majority in the midterm elections, push forcefully for getting that done, because this is all about disenfranchisement. This is all about making sure that we are never in a position to elect a President Barack Obama ever again, that we never come close to electing Kamala Harris for President of the United States, and that policies that have advanced our participation in civil society will never come to the fore. We've got work to do. And that means that our people have to understand that this is not about petty politics. This is about survival politics. And no matter how you feel about the individual parties involved here, we have to make sure that those parties that we vote for overwhelmingly are in a position to legislate in a way in which it remedies this extraordinary act on the part of the Supreme Court.
I've got just a few minutes left, but Congresswoman Clarke, when we come forward, and I'll tee up the question now that I want her to address, that is, when we come forward in these few tight remaining moments, the CBC put a statement out almost immediately yesterday, of course, after this decision, no surprise there. But in that statement, they vowed to fight back after this decision. The CBC vowed to fight back. I wonder what that looks like, because if many of the soldiers that you have in the fight with you are now going to have to disappear because of this decision, and you can fight back without huge numbers. Make no mistake about that. Rosa Parks was just one person. One person can make a difference, no doubt about it. But I wonder what that fight back on the part of the CBC actually looks like. That's my exit question for her when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is connecting you with services and solutions. Domestic violence and family violence is when someone in an intimate or family relationship tries to gain or maintain power and control over another through a wide range of abusive behaviors. Every single act may amount to abuse. Abuse can take on various forms: psychological and emotional, physical and economic, and sexual abuse. The Genesee Center Incorporated is a nationally recognized nonprofit domestic violence prevention and intervention organization, housing women and children from 30 days up to 2 years through emergency and transitional shelters. The Genesee Center also provides support services like mental health counseling, life skills classes, computer training, job referrals, after-school programs for children, field trips, tutoring, and comprehensive direct legal services. If you need help or you'd like to donate or volunteer, call the Genesee Hotline, 1-800-479-7328. That's 1-800-479-7328, or visit genesee.org. Everyone has the right to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with the chair of the CBC, Yvette D. Clarke, out of New York. So, Congresswoman, here we are. I saw that statement yesterday you all put out, a strong statement, but at the heart of it, the essence of it was that we are going to fight back. What's that fight back look like at this point?
Well, that fight back looks like a number of things. Now, first and foremost, we are very prepared with an architecture of partnerships across this nation, national organizations with chapters in every state across the country. Those organizations in partnership with the CBC will be on the ground registering people to vote so that we can overwhelm the polls and get the majority in the House of Representatives in the hands of the Democrats. We will continue to educate and inform through various means, whether that is social media or town hall meetings. It's an all-out everything we can do to make sure that our people are not oblivious to what this means to our survival, and making sure that they take their franchise seriously and understand the power that they hold to change this whole situation around. We have talked about a number of legislative remedies, and we are prepared to advance those. We don't have the majority in the House. We don't have the majority in the Senate, but we are preparing for the moment that we have that opportunity to turn this situation around.
This, I think, you don't need advice from me, but this needs to be framed, as I see it, as more than just a loss for Black America. Obviously, all the conversation is about racial gerrymandering, as we've discussed here, how it's going to reduce the number of CBC members. But America at its best, particularly as we hurdle inexorably toward that day where we will be a majority-minority country. On more of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A Black man from Brooklyn seen being beat as officers mistook him for a suspect and used excessive force, leaving him physically and emotionally scarred.
It was wrong and it was disgusting. And my life will never be the same.
City officials call the incident disturbing as the investigation continues. The city of Boston is settling a lawsuit tied to a 2020 say police used excessive force, including pepper spray and batons. And Dave Palladium May 7th through 9th with tickets on sale now. The festival runs May 4th through 10th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new chili crisp dumplings paired with a premium beverage drink like our new strawberry watermelon lemonade energy refresher. Both for just $5 only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
6 days ago, the Lakers were up 3-0 on the Houston Rockets and appeared to be ready to close them out for the season. Today, the Lakers are in the uncomfortable position of having to go back to Houston for Game 6 Friday night. The Lakers are in this position after losing to the Rockets 99-93 Wednesday night in Game 5 at Crypto.com. The Lakers have a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series, but their momentum at the moment is non-existent. Even without Kevin Durant, the Rockets still had their way with the Lakers defense. All 5 Rockets starters scored in double figures. LeBron tried to do his part with 25 points and 7 assists. Austin Reeves, playing in his first game since April 2nd, had 22 points off the bench, but Reeves' return had little effect on the outcome. Later today, the Lakers will board their charter flight to Houston. Along the way, they need to figure out how to get one more win against the Rockets. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, black voices, black power.
The heat is on
the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected, stay informed, stay loud.
Stand up!
It's Miles Davis as we celebrate International Jazz Day. I keep saying it, and I mean it. These amazing, iconic jazz masters sound so good. I hate stepping on any of them. So looking at my list here. So far, we're giving you some Miles Davis. We played some Sarah Vaughan and Clifford Brown. We played Lee Morgan, the Sidewinder. We played some John Coltrane. So we're going to weave in some of the best of these jazz masters, again, on International Jazz Day. We ain't got to Charles Mingus yet. We ain't got to Monk yet. We ain't got to Ella Fitzgerald yet. Duke. The Colossus, my friend, Sonny Rollins. We ain't got to Sonny yet. So we're going to weave in some more stuff over the next couple of hours as we push toward our final hour today when Dee Dee Bridgewater joins us on this International Jazz Day. They all sound amazing. And so there you have some Miles Davis. In this hour, as promised, a conversation with U of M Professor Kishonna Gray about the links between video games, violence, and race as we face more political violence in America. It turns out that watching violent black video game characters increases, we are told, unconscious bias in white viewers. That's a whole hour right there, just that one factoid. That watching violent black video game characters increases unconscious bias in white viewers, and you better believe that has some impacts, right? Some results, some tentacles. So you might have also seen or read that the suspect now charged in the assassination attempt of Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner shifted from posts about video games to political rage. So questions are being raised now about whether or not he was in fact radicalized by being a gamer. Lots of questions. And the data on these issues, one, is incontrovertible, but number two, beyond fascinating for me. And so into this space, I've invited Professor Gray for the hour. She's in studio, so if you're not watching us right now and you want to see her beautiful visage, turn on the app, turn on the website, check us out. But she's in studio, and I'm glad I got her for the hour. Before I open this mic and let her do her thing for the rest of the hour, and she said, Tavis, I'm a talker. I said, that's good. It's talk radio. So I'll let you go. Trust me. I got you for the hour. But this is Caroline Leavitt, the president's spokesperson, you all know, talking about political violence and framing this as the White House wants to around the unique position they see Donald Trump in. But listen to Caroline Leavitt for yourself.
Nobody in recent years has faced more bullets and more violence than President Trump. This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters by commentators, yes, by elected members of the Democrat Party, and even some in the media. This hateful and constant and violent rhetoric directed at President Trump day after day after day for 11 years has helped to legitimize this violence and bring us to this dark moment. Those who constantly falsely label and slander the president as a fascist, as a threat to democracy, and compare him to Hitler to score political points are fueling this kind of violence. The left-wing cult of hatred against the president and all of those who support him and work for him has gotten multiple people hurt and killed, and it almost did so again this weekend.
So if I heard that clip correctly, Donald Trump ain't fomented none of this. He is not responsible for any of these chickens coming home to roost. He has fomented none of it. He's been a saint. He's been pristine. He's been heavenly in his behavior. Just perfect is Donald Trump. Hadn't fomented any of this, didn't ask for any of this to be visited upon him. As a matter of fact, there is so much in that clip. I'm scribbling notes as she's talking. I'm looking at Professor Gray scribbling notes as she's talking. So you know what I'm going to do? When we come forward, I'm going to play it one more again because there's so much in there that you might have missed because Caroline Leavitt unloaded in that one statement. It's only 54 seconds, but she got a lot out. So when we come forward, I'm going to play it one more again, and I'm going to let Professor Gray run for the hour. We'll start with that comment and work our way into the video industry and how these white folk view us differently when they see us as violent characters in these video games and what that connection is all about. It's going to be a great hour. I'm excited to have Professor Kishonna Gray in studio. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
California to the Carolinas. Everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid.
Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Hi, I'm Fred Martin, founder of Compton Kids Club. I just want to talk about the authenticity and tell y'all about my homeboy, Tom Steyer. Tom is a rock star. When I met him, Tom gave a grant to schools in San Francisco. All the kids were on probation. We were flying instructors for 2 years to come and help those kids doing performing arts and turning their life around. Some of the kids that he supported, they've graduated from UCLA. Let's fast forward. Tom is in schools in Compton, hanging out with the kids in the piano classes. Brother Tom Steyer hangs out in the studio with us. These are the seeds that he's planted. This has nothing to do with elections. What's coming out of his mouth is not a campaign speech. It's authentic, and when he say he walks away from a business because he want to do his values, he ain't making that up because he's running for governor. This man is real.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer. Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning. The cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
You don't know what love is until you've learned the meaning of the blues. Until you've loved a love you've had to lose. You don't know what love is. You don't know how lips hurt until you've kissed and had to pay the cost. Until you've flipped your heart and you have lost. You don't know what love is.
So Miles and I were laughing a few moments ago because the audience knows how this works, Professor. Whenever I have a guest in studio, I always let them choose their walk-on song. So whatever you want to play, Miles can find it. Everybody chooses a walk-on song when they come in, if they're in studio. Only person that doesn't come in studio and still chooses a walk-on song is Cornel West, because he's Cornel West.
That's right. That's right.
So
yes,
every
sir.
Monday and
Yes,
Thursday, he's here twice a week.
Yes,
he
sir.
chooses his own walk-on song.
Oh my
as a matter of fact, you are in his time slot right now. So he's normally here every Tuesday, Monday, and Thursday at this hour.
I'm on.
So we go from Cornell West to Kishonna Gray. So I was laughing with Miles because she walked in. We didn't give her the option to do that because we're in the midst of playing all this great jazz today in celebration of International Jazz Day. In case you've just tuned in, Dee Dee Bridgewater joins us in our third hour today. So I've been playing some of the best of these amazing artists. And so I gave Professor Gray the list of stuff that Miles is playing today and said, okay, you get to choose whatever song you want to play. Pick any artist. Pick any artist on this list. If it ain't got a check mark by it, we ain't played it yet. Pick what you want. And she got all excited. And first she said, Count Basie. And she said, no. Oh, I see. Nina Simone. No. She jumped around. Sarah Vaughan. No. She finally landed on Lady Day. And so you're getting some Billie Holiday. So you finally figured out, Professor Gray, who you wanted, but why Billie Holiday?
Oh, my goodness. So whenever I saw Billie Holiday's name, I immediately thought about Strange Fruit. You know, that's the one that kind of, we connect the most with.
That's right.
But then I also had to couple that with that clip that you had just played. And what I wrote down is, as she was referencing Donald Trump. And she said, he's the president that's received more bullets and more violence. And to say that. About this man and the things that he has stolen. I'm like, they're really creating him as like some kind of strange fruit, ain't they? And so I just thought, kind of tongue in cheek. I was like, I'd like to hear Billie Holiday right now.
It weaves nicely. Professor Gray and I were laughing about the fact that Donald Trump thinks he's a G now. He's a G. He a straight G now. I done survived 3 assassination attempts. So he either thinks he's a G or a J. The J would be Jesus. But he thinks he's one of the two for surviving all of this. Your thoughts on that right quick, and I'll play this clip again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really fascinating. Somebody that stole so much violence, across the globe, locally and domestically. One that wages war, actively is waging a war, and will think that they are the one that's receiving like the most violence. It's just a bit ironic to me.
Yeah, ironic is one word for it. All right, so I promise to play this again because there's so much in it. I want you to hear Caroline Levitt. And let me just say this. I'm annoyed, and annoyed ain't. I'm just trying to be charitable and generous. I'm so over this administration, and we still got another 2.5 years to go, whatever it is. But every now and then, game recognizes game. I ain't going to hate. Every now and then, Caroline Levitt has a good one. She just lays in, man. She knows who she's serving. She knows what her job is, and every now and then she gets a good one off. And this was a good one. Ain't no truth in it nowhere, but she
ain't nary a truth.
Not nary a truth. It's invisible, right? It's not there. But she lays on this argument quite nicely. We're gonna unpack it after I play it for you one more again.
Nobody in recent years has faced more bullets and more violence than President Trump. This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters by commentators, yes, by elected members of the Democrat Party, and even some in the media. This hateful and constant and violent rhetoric directed at President Trump day after day after day for 11 years has helped to legitimize this violence and bring us to this dark moment. Those who constantly falsely label and slander the president as a fascist, as a threat to democracy, and compare him to Hitler to score political points are fueling this kind of violence. The left-wing cult of hatred against the president and all of those who support him and work for him has gotten multiple people hurt and killed, and it almost did so again this weekend.
All right, Professor Gray, we got the hour. You said you were talking. I'm going to let you talk. There's a lot there. Tell me what you heard.
I think the first part that really struck me is that how she's really trying to frame, like, they use like the language, the symbolic language of like, systemic demoralization, bullets and violence. So it's like, black folks, we have talked about these things like for decades, right? About how the media is painting black folks, about how the justice systems, educational systems, about how all these things are like leading to the devaluation of blackness and demoralization. And then all of a sudden, people act like they don't know what that means. But then all of a sudden in this moment, I won't speak to how conspiracy theorists are talking about as a stage, and I won't say any of that. But it's just really interesting how these events happen and they all of a sudden it's like they get it. So it's like on one side of me is like, oh, I'm glad you're finally understanding the thing that black folks, black media scholars or journalists, that people have been saying like all these years. Your framing and your rhetoric of black folks creates and constructs realities for us that are real conditions in the streets and in the world, right? But it's like everybody was like, no, that's not real. It's like racism is this abstract abstract thing, and like none of that actually matters. But I'm like, I actually am. I'm glad he's all right. I'm glad that they have like this language to say, oh, black people, we get what you've been saying all along. That's not gonna happen. But maybe this is like starting to plant the seeds of something that they can truly understand what we've been saying for decades. Maybe. I'm hopeful.
Yep.
I can wish, right?
I mentioned Dr. West earlier. It's what he calls the niggerization of America. That's his frame, right? The niggerization of America, that they are now in so many ways starting to understand what it feels like to be us, that strange fruit that you mentioned a moment ago, Billie Holiday, all these years later. But I am struck, it's impossible not to be struck by, again, the blame game that Caroline Leavitt plays so well, as if Donald Trump has absolutely nothing to do with the fomenting of this violence. That part, Professor Gray.
You reap what you sow. I remember my grandma used to say that a lot. You know, I'm even thinking about that old saying. I heard you say it earlier, you know, chickens come home to roost, you know, all that's like, you know, what we put out, we get back in the world. I believe in karmic, cosmic energy or whatever it is. You know, I believe in that stuff. So I'm like, what you put out into the world, it will come back to you. So if you're building your entire platform off of the backs of oppression, and you know, you're talking about all these things related to, like, you know, different kinds of communities, and you're saying all these negative things, and what do you think like will happen will come back, right? These things will come back to you. So I'm not suggesting, you know, any kind of violence. I don't wish that like on anybody, but it's like you can't wage war, you know, rather rhetorically or actually, and then expect nothing, you know, to actually happen back. You know, I think, you know, a lot of, you know, we come from like the streets, you know, like we're right next to like some real streets right now, right? And so then we know how you have to move in the world. You go in and out. You got to be safe, right? And then you don't just say things. You got to be. Yes, let me just stop there, because I also don't want to say anything to get me fined. I'm thinking about Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined. So I don't want to speak too. I don't want to get y'all fined now.
No, trust me. You couldn't get me in trouble. All the stuff I say, if we're going to get fined, it's for what Tavis said, not for what you said. Yeah. And if you said it, I would still get fined. It wouldn't be you anyway. You don't own the station. You don't own the microphone. The fine is still going to come to me for letting you say it on my microphone.
I ain't going to let that happen. I ain't trying to get us fined or canceled today. No, sir.
I appreciate that. They can't cancel me. They tried. They can't cancel. They can't fine me, but they can't cancel me.
That's right.
The fact that I'm sitting here means that you can't cancel me.
Come on now.
Only Jesus.
That's right.
Can cancel me, but I ain't going to start preaching.
Come on now.
Let me go back to the conspiracy theory thing that you raised. And I'm racist because I've seen so much of this the last few days, and I'm looking at Miles. I can see it in his eyes already. There are a lot of black people who don't believe that this stuff is legitimate.
Sure.
Miles may remember the last time the late, great, my dear friend Nikki Giovanni was on this program. Yeah. Nikki was talking about the fact that she didn't. She's I ain't buying it, Tavis. It's Nikki Giovanni. Yeah. Now, they don't come much brighter than Nikki. That's right. And Nikki wasn't buying it. The minute this happened, whatever day it was, over the weekend, dinner, my brother, one of my brothers, I've got 9 brothers and sisters, one of them, and a couple later on, started texting me. I don't believe it. How do you get inside the building? How do you get past all that security, right? So in my own family, my friends, a lot of Negroes ain't buying these assassination attempts against Trump. They think they're staged. He's surviving all of them. It's all about making him to be more of a messianic figure. It's all about animating the base between now and the midterms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know the arguments. You've seen the same stuff that I'm seeing, maybe in your family as well. But a lot of black folks just ain't feeling this. And I'm concerned about that for a couple of reasons. First of all, just because you are a conspiracy theorist don't mean they ain't out to get you. Number one, I'm very clear about that. It don't mean they ain't out to get you. But I'm concerned about it because when Caroline Leavitt says that no president's ever been subjected to what Donald Trump's been subjected to, it is not the case. We know that Obama survived an assassination attempt, but it is the case that a couple folk got across that fence at the White House.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah, that is true. That they broke through some security barriers to get closer to Barack Obama, ostensibly. And I don't have any access. I don't have any data to prove this, but I can tell you Donald Trump's got a long way to go to be subject to the number of threats that Obama was subject to as the first black president. I don't know if he'll ever meet that number. You'll never convince me that Donald Trump has gotten more threats against his life than Obama did, the most threatened person in history. So he's still got a ways to go to catch up with Obama in that regard. So those two things are on my mind. But the third thing I'm pushing toward is simply this. That if, in fact, we knew more about all the threats against Barack Obama, and the white folks said to us, that's a conspiracy theory. We don't believe it. We don't believe it. How would we react if they didn't believe that? Are you following me? Mm-hmm. How would we react if they didn't believe the data points about the threats against Barack Obama? Right. So again, I'm not suggesting for Nikki or my siblings or my friends or anybody else posting or listening to me right now that y'all couldn't have a point. I'm not suggesting you got no point. Mm-hmm. I'm just asking, having said all that, how do I process that our people, so many of them just don't buy this, they believe that this is one big, huge conspiracy thing that Trump and his team keep setting up, again, to make him appear to be a messianic figure or to get that base ready for what their assignment's going to be come November. Yeah. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But I think one of the things we got to recognize is that there's a historical precedent for why black folks might buy into conspiracy theories. Okay. You know, we can't forget that part, right?
You the professor. Break it down.
So I think one of the ones that I think a lot of folks know, you know, COINTELPRO,
That's right?
The counterintelligence flight program, where we were saying something was amiss, something was off. There is something happening inside our civil rights movements with our leaders. There's misinformation. There's fake news. There are things happening, and we just couldn't explain it, you know? And so somebody said there must be the man or some kind of puppet that's pulling some strings.
From Huey Newton to MLK.
Absolutely,
absolutely. And Malcolm X. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Even in that's just in that example. Even think about all the conspiracies, even around like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Now these are easy pickings, right?
Sure.
We could go deeper, but these are the ones that most people know. So a lot of people were like, "No, I think they're saying they're giving us cure. They're saying they're doing this, but I don't think so. We're not getting better. We're not like the other patients, right?" And so we have a precedent set of I won't say conspiracy, but I would say not believing black folks, right? And so we've kind of built up this barrier, this protection shield that, you know, we're not going to just buy into any old thing, right? We ain't going to just believe whatever willy and nilly, you know, want to bring our way. You know, we want to make sure that, you know, people also, you know, and this is also like a part of like the literacy. Like we don't talk enough about like black literacy and how smart black folks actually are. We're very savvy. We can see through things. We can hear something that, you know, the clip that you played several times, and we can read between the lines and we can understand what's happening. Right. So just because we might not have literacy at rates that other people think, like some kind of standard literacy, it doesn't mean that our people are dumb. You know, we think differently. We have different epistemological knowledges, and, you know, our knowledge comes from different places. And so I think that when your grandmother starts talking, there's a reason we sit and listen, you know, because there's something deep and precious like
with her third grade education.
With her third grade education, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think when we think about like words, it's more, we're just taking in more. We go beyond what's said, you know, we think about what's inferred and what's felt. And so I think that black folks, we have a sense in that way. So it seems like we don't trust nothing, right? Because the world hasn't given us reasons to trust either.
Nope, I receive it. And that frame is a frame that's worthy of being wrestled with. This notion that there is a historical.
That's right. They just lie to us.
Backstory, yeah.
They lie to us all the time.
I get you.
You know, even on the plantation. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're gonna be free. Don't worry about this. And then they send you downriver. You know, okay. You know, like there's just so much like precedent for the mistrust that black folks have in the institutions that are around us. So it doesn't come from no place.
Nope, that's fair.
And then whenever it's that same rhetoric is then used and deployed from these other folks, you know, then you wonder what's the energy behind it. It's not the same origin. You know, they're using it to deceive and to be deceptive, and they're using it to pull the wool over, like, you know, somebody's eyes. You know, we're using it because we actually want truth telling, like inside the spaces that we're in.
All right, Nikki, God rest your soul. I hear you. My brother Doobie, I hear you. And all the rest of y'all Negroes, I hear you. Professor Gray says there is a context. I quoted Jesse Jackson earlier. Jesse said all the time, content without context is pretext.
Come on,
that's
now.
Jesse. Content without context is pretext. So I hear the context of your conspiracy theory beliefs, and I ain't mad at you. All right, that's the Caroline Levitt statement. Enough of that. When we come forward, let's jump into this gaming thing and what it is about seeing black folk as violent characters in this gaming world. That gets white people to show up or see us differently. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? A lot to talk about with Professor Kishonna Gray. You're listening to Tavis Smile.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Jeffrey Wood with BIN News Now. The U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments on the Trump administration's effort to end temporary protected status for Haitians. Family Action Network Movement's Paul Christian Namfi says conditions in Haiti remain unsafe.
This is a matter of human rights, safety, and justice.
The administration argues the decision isn't subjected to court review. A ruling isn't expected until this summer. The U.S. Supreme Court has struck down Louisiana's second majority black congressional district, ruling it was drawn too heavily based on race. The 6-3 decision weakens key protections of the Voting Rights Act and could impact redistricting nationwide. And Broadway and rap fans are seeing an early exit from Megan Thee Stallion. The rapper said she's leaving Moulin Rouge sooner than planned, just days after announcing her breakup with NBA player Klay Thompson. Her final performance is now Friday, with refunds offered to ticket holders. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new chili crisp dumplings paired with a premium beverage drink like our new strawberry watermelon lemonade energy refresher. Both for just $5 only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
6 days ago, the Lakers were up 3-0 on the Houston Rockets and appeared to be ready to close them out for the season. Today, the Lakers are in the uncomfortable position of having to go back to Houston for Game 6 Friday night. The Lakers are in this position after losing to the Rockets 99-93 Wednesday night in Game 5 at Crypto.com. The Lakers have a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series, but their momentum at the moment is non-existent. Even without Kevin Durant, the Rockets still had their way with the Lakers defense. All 5 Rockets starters scored in double figures. LeBron tried to do his part with 25 points and 7 assists. Austin Reeves, playing in his first game since April 2nd, had 22 points off the bench, but Reeves' return had little effect on the outcome. Later today, the Lakers will board their charter flight to Houston. Along the way, they need to figure out how to get one more win against the Rockets. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. loss. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Kishonna Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
That's right.
Sometimes I need alone time, but for this one time I'm all over yet. I heard that they don't like me, that's fine, cause we don't like y'all, and we not like y'all. I'm done trying, I tried dying enough times. 8 lives, I used all those, I'm on 9. What's up here? If we all really stuck here, is there anybody else we all really stuck here? Mickey Mouse kids.
Say no, that is not Max Roach. That is not Sonny Rollins. That is not that's not Monk or Duke. But I was talking to Professor Gray about the track she would have played if I'd done what I typically do and let the guest choose the walk-on song. And this song, tell me about this track.
Yeah, absolutely. This is MGK and Fred Durst, Fix Your Face. And that's what I had to do when I was listening to that lady clip earlier. I was really having to fix my face. I'm like, she beside herself. She talking crazy. But I got a perfect song right now. That's the song. Like, if you need somebody to fix their face, that's
Fix
the song.
Your Face.
Fix Your Face.
That's the song that Professor Gray would have walked on to had I not been doing jazz all day. But we want to get it in anyway, particularly because I like the story, right? Fix Your Face, right? Her name is Kishonna Gray. She's a professor at full professor at University of Michigan. Honored to have her on this program. We spent some time, in case you just tuned in, sort of trying to unpack this statement that Caroline Leavitt made about Donald Trump being in a frame no other president ever been in. Nobody's taking more shots at him, and no president had more hate directed at him. I'm paraphrasing all the nonsense she was saying, but we were talking a moment ago as well about the way that Donald Trump surviving these various assassination attempts, depending on how one looks at it, makes him more and more of a messianic figure on the one hand. On the other hand, there are people who think that this is all fake. Our black people don't buy it. And they think this is really about just, playing to the base and trying to animate them and get them excited and ready for what they need to do in November. All the data we see every day suggest that Democrats have a really good chance to take them at the House and maybe even the Senate. And so many people believe this is all part of a narrative, a script of the White House and Donald Trump to get this base ready for this election. So a lot of folks just ain't buying it. That's the bottom line. They're not buying it. A lot of conspiracy theories about these various attempts against the life of Donald Trump. And we talked about that. But I invited Professor Gray on this program to talk, as I said earlier, about video and gaming. And let me tell you why. One, because she's the author of a book called Intersectional Tech, Black Users in Digital Gaming. Intersectional Tech, Black Users in Digital Gaming. That's her book. But I said at the top of the hour when she first joined us that there are links between video games, violence, and race, as we are being visited right now with more political violence in America than we've seen in a long time. I was reading some data points last night. This is actually not the worst period of political violence in this country. There have been worse periods. Right. I was reading the data on that last night, but it's getting more acute by the day, right? I think acute's the right word. So it turns out that watching violent black video game characters increases unconscious bias in white viewers. And you might have also seen or read, as I said earlier, that the suspect now charged in the assassination attempt of Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner shifted from posting about video games to political rage. So there are questions now being raised about whether or not he was, for lack of a better word, radicalized by the video games he was playing. That's my frame. That's my setup. Now that I've set it up, I'm going to stand down and let Professor Gray run with it as she will. Whatever you want to go.
Oh, where do I start?
However you want to. Well, it's all yours. The mic is yours.
Absolutely.
That's my setup. It's all yours.
Absolutely. So I wanted to just mention a few things, right? There's, I do not believe that video games cause violence, right? I remember hearing the argument in the early 90s, I believe, under the Clinton administration, Hillary Clinton, Mortal Kombat had come out, and then there was this outrage. A lot of mothers were concerned about the images that, young folks were seeing on the screen, and, that was one of the first times that this narrative of video games cause violence kind of stuck in the public psyche, right? And then we've had different iterations, from the military games like Call of Duty, different conversations, is this causing just everyday violence, and also then Grand Theft Auto. Now, I would like to set the stage, for the listeners here. So I'm in LA, right? And so my drive into LA, the first thing that came to my mind was I felt like I was in GTA. I felt like I was in Grand Theft Auto. So Grand Theft Auto has done a great job at capturing Los Angeles and the greater Los Angeles area. A lot of people remark that it's like copy and paste. So the fact that I even saw it and then I witnessed it, I was like, oh, I know that neighborhood. I know that hood. I knew LA from a video game, right?
Wow.
And so that's a good thing, right? I have a sense of place. I have a sense of geography, and I was able to kind of see and witness that, right? But then also I would be remiss to even say that the framing of Grand Theft Auto is often, these violent black bodies and black and brown bodies in inner cities, right? And so, there's a lot of fighting, a lot of violence, a lot of drugs. There's a lot of things in Grand Theft Auto. So for a long time, when it came to video game characters, especially with black folks being included, they were really included in this violent way. But that's not something that video games created. This actually came from the film industry. So for a long time, there was this big three in which audiences would consume black characters, right? Number one was the criminal. The second one was the sidekick or the funny comic relief kind of character. And then the third one was always the help. So we got this template, from media. And so video games just kind of copied and pasted the same narratives around okay, if we're going to incorporate black folks, how are we going to include them? So the early stages of that was let's show the hood, let's show, so we got Saints Row, you got Grand Theft Auto, you got different kinds of games like that, right? And so there are very limited narratives inside video games. And so the other narrative, a more recent narrative inside video games, I'm thinking about a game like Assassin's Creed. There was downloadable content that featured a black character, Adewale, and he was basically happened upon the shores of what we would now call Haiti. It was the precursor of the Haitian Revolution. And so Adewale's character, he's basically going around and literally destroying the empire of slavery, the institution of slavery. So he's going around killing all these French people, right? Now, people were up in arms, and they were up in arms, and the narrative that they used, they said, isn't this a little too violent? They said at that moment, so these same outlets, they didn't say anything about that violence before, but they said because the optics shifted.
He killing white folks now.
Killing white folks now. We can't have that.
Can't have that, yeah.
Can't have that. It was literally, and I was so fascinated with that. Because then the flip side was black folks that experienced so much joy and euphoria at this narrative that they haven't often seen. And I often related to, it was the Django effect. I usually, if you remember the Jamie Foxx movie, Django, where he's really taking down the institution of slavery. That's so video games gave us that. So we don't often see those kinds of narratives in video games. But the fact that they do, what do they cause? So I don't say that they cause violence, because then the question that I then ask, I always say, well, what were the Romans playing? What was they playing during the French Revolution War? What was they playing in War 1812? What was they playing if it causes violence? I think that video games then become the scapegoat, because the uncomfortable thing, the thing that we won't do is do that deep dive to say, is there something so innate in us that causes us to violence? I'm thinking about in college, the social theories, are we naturally good? Are we naturally evil? But we have a range for all those things, and we see that on a daily basis, So
I'm thinking that, let me just tee this up now, let you respond to it when we come forward here. So I'm thinking that even if you're right that video games don't cause violence, the question is being raised about this young man who has now been charged in the assassination attempt of Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The question is whether or not these video games radicalize him and whether others can be radicalized by video games, which, again, is not to say the game itself made you violent. What I'm pressing toward is what I said earlier, the link between video games and race and how they see us when they see us as characters, violent characters in these video games, and what that does to increase their unconscious bias. So it may not ultimately lead to violence. It may not even radicalize you, but it appears from the data that I'm reading that it does do something to their unconscious bias when they see us as these violent characters, which the industry loves to do in these video games. That's my question. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does.
I got you. Hold that thought. When we come forward, I'll let you loose. I promise. You're listening to Professor Gray on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh, no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. Things are changing fast and no one knows what comes next. Times like these make you realize just how important it is to be prepared. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. They're America's #1 most trusted resource for survival food, solar power, water filtration systems, and more. Go to preparewithamerica.com to unlock a special offer that'll help you get ready for whatever comes our way. Go to preparewithamerica.com to see the special offer right now. That's preparewithamerica.com.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the
right seat. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
That's Duke Ellington at Newport back in 1956. We've been giving you some Coltrane and some Miles Davis and some Sarah Vaughan and some Lee Morgan and some Billie Holiday and the Duke, because today is International Jazz Day. We pivoted for a second for some Fix Your Face.
Come on now.
Yeah, but now I'm back to where I started and where we go end in this last hour coming up. Celebrating International Jazz Day. We'll be joined by, speaking of jazz masters, Dee Dee Bridgewater at the top of the next hour, about 8 minutes from now. 10 minutes from now, we'll talk to Dee Dee. But we are always looking for any excuse to play great music. And there is no export that America has ever given the world like we have exported our jazz tradition. And so it's my joy, my honor to play a little bit of some of the best of these jazz masters. Professor Gray was saying to me that she's been rediscovering piano lately, and you don't know this, but I'll say it now since you're on the air. I played piano for years, and there are not many regrets I have in my life, but one regret that I have is that I stopped playing.
Same.
And now you were saying the same thing to me.
That's right. That's right. I remember I was young in the church. My granny was like, "You need to play piano." I was like, "Okay, yes, ma'am, I'll play." But I hated it. Yeah. And so I'm returning to it, and I wish I had the appreciation for it. Then, but we can get it now. You can get it back.
No, you can still get it back.
I'm gonna get back in there.
Just got to find the time to
That's
practice.
right.
But yeah,
that's right.
But I love playing piano. I played it for years, and I can still play by ear a little bit.
I never learned to play by ear.
I can play by ear, yeah. But I'm not as proficient anywhere near as I wish I were.
Get back at it now. You got to keep the creative going.
I love the instrument.
Yeah.
Speaking of your grandmother, your grandmother is still living?
She's still living. She's still with us. Born in 1923.
Hold on.
What's the math on that?
Yeah, I'm not good. 103?
103. That's right. She's
your
still with us.
Your grandmother is 103.
She's 103. Can you imagine everything she's seen?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is she still relatively lucid?
She still got it. She still got it.
Wow.
Listen, because one time we was at home, I cussed. And she heard it. So I'm like, nah, she's still with it.
Baby got ain't in that.
That's right.
Got ain't in that. You can't cuss around big about.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
What
do y'all call her? What do you call her?
Mama Net.
Mama Net.
Mama Net.
Yeah, you know us. We always got a name, right?
That's right, Mama Net.
I figured it wasn't just grandma.
No. You got something.
So Mama Net is 103.
103 plus.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. There goes that segment. We talked through that. Not about the subject matter. Fortunately, there's one more segment to go. And when we come forward, I'll let you answer the question that I posed for you prior to that segment. Now we've done talking about Duke and the piano and Mama Net at 103. But that's a beautiful thing. Just to call her name.
Yeah, Mama Net. Yeah. Nettie Bell Gray.
There you go.
Come on now.
Nettie Bell Gray.
Nettie Bell Gray.
I love it. More of Tavis Mind when we come forward.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever. Backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. The midterm election campaign season is here now. The 2028 presidential election is right around the corner. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. It's all in for 2026 and 2028. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information information by dialing 800-283-2427. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-283-2427. 800-283-2427. 800-283-2427.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
I got just 5 minutes left here with Professor Kishonna Gray at University of Michigan. Her book is called Intersectional Tech, Black Users in Digital Gaming, and wanted to have her on because, again, there's so much conversation about whether or not this person who's now been arrested and charged with the assassination attempt of Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, whether he was radicalized by video games. And whether he was or was not, what we do know is there is a link between video games, violence, and race. And we do know that watching violent black video game characters increases unconscious bias in white viewers. So
that's right.
My thought is that it does radicalize them in the sense that it radicalizes them emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, existentially. Something happens when they see us playing these violent characters.
That's right.
In terms of how they view us.
Exactly.
I got 4 minutes. It's all yours.
One of the things that it really does is it desensitizes the first, right? So if you're constantly seeing, like a black man as a criminal, you're constantly seeing that, your brain goes through certain processes of like, acknowledgement, acceptance, yes, and then you get desensitized to it, right? And so it happens with us also, where we're just consuming, certain kinds of music, certain kinds of media, certain kinds of things, and then sometimes you might lose the value or a sense of self, right, inside that. But then the radicalization process is really interesting, right? So if you think about the flip side, think about somebody that has these beliefs where they think that, black folks are inferior to, right? And then they consume media that continues to say black people are inferior. And then they play these video games where the black folks are just the poor people over in that hood or that ghetto somewhere, right? And so then you have this constant inundation of a particular kind of narrative, and it's actually hard to get your way out of it. So then when you have exceptional Negroes, if you will, or if you have somebody that does something counter to that, it's just like a blip. It's not like anything that you're going to take too serious because you've seen all this other negative stuff. So it's like the problem of like the singular narrative or the problem of the singular story. For us, yes, we got family members that are in the hood. Yes, we got family members that's on drugs. Yes. And so, but that doesn't impact or make us think negatively about those people because we see blackness as the fullness and the holisticness of it, right? But for other people who might not know black folks intimately, they will just latch on to the low-hanging fruit, the strange fruit bits. They'll just hang on to that. And then that's the only thing that they will believe about us, that we are bodies that are just deserving to die. Because that's what they see in the video games over and over again.
Is the business, the industry that is, getting better about that?
Yes.
They are?
Yeah, I'll say yes. I'll say yes. So I want to put some hope on it too, So there are, just like the game that I mentioned with Adewale, that's a different kind of narrative. That's a different kind of framing. We have the Black College Football Experience. There's this beautiful game that kind of showcases HBCUs and the amazing talents and that we have like at HBCUs. We have black gamers. We have black developers. We have black streamers. Sarat, he's like one of the richest people in the world because he played video games like on Twitch. So these tools, they're telling different narratives and they afford different kinds of possibilities. So it's not, hope is not lost, right? So I think a lot of folks who are in charge of black media, are making sure that we continue to push the envelope to make sure that other narratives and stories are told.
I love ending on a note of hope, and so I'll take it. I'll take it.
Any way we can.
There you go. Dr. Kishonna Gray, Kishonna L. Gray, is professor, University of Michigan. Her book is called Intersectional Tech, Black Users in Digital Gaming. I'm honored to have had her in this studio for the hour. When you get a chance, please tell Mama Net at 103 that Tavis Smiley said hello and sends his love.
Yes, sir. Sure will.
You do that, all right?
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Honored to have had you here. We got 1 hour to go, and we're going to celebrate International Jazz Day at the top of the next hour with Dee Dee Bridgewater. You are listening to Tavis Smiley.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments on the Trump administration's effort to end temporary protected status for Haitians. Family Action Network Movement's Paul Christian Namphy says conditions in Haiti remain unsafe.
This is a matter of human rights, safety, and justice.
The administration argues the decision isn't subjected to court review. A ruling isn't expected until this summer. The U.S. Supreme Court has struck down Louisiana's second majority black congressional district, ruling it was drawn too heavily based on race. The 6-3 decision weakens key protections of the Voting Rights Act and could impact redistricting nationwide. And Broadway and rap fans are seeing an early exit from Megan Thee Stallion. The rapper said she's leaving Moulin Rouge sooner than planned, just days after announcing her breakup with NBA player Klay Thompson. Her final performance is now Friday, with refunds offered to ticket holders. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill for $5 happy hour weekdays after 3 p.m. and try our new chili crisp dumplings paired with a premium beverage drink like our new strawberry watermelon lemonade energy refresher. Both for just $5 only at Waba Grill.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
6 days ago, the Lakers were up 3-0 on the Houston Rockets and appeared to be ready to close them out for the season. Today, the Lakers are in the uncomfortable position of having to go back to Houston for Game 6 Friday night. The Lakers are in this position after losing to the Rockets 99-93 Wednesday night in Game 5 at Crypto.com. The Lakers have a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series, but their momentum at the moment is non-existent. Even without Kevin Durant, the Rockets still had their way with the Lakers defense. All 5 Rockets starters scored in double figures. LeBron tried to do his part with 25 points and 7 assists. Austin Reeves, playing in his first game since April 2nd, had 22 points off the bench, but Reeves' return had little effect on the outcome. Later today, the Lakers will board their charter flight to Houston. Along the way, they need to figure out how to get one more win against the Rockets. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Fig Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot stomping, heart stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
Hey. Oh, wasn't that fun? Yeah, thanks, girl. I am. I'm on hold for an interview.
Let's we about to go live, man.
Okay, I'm ready.
That's live radio for you. Dee Dee talking to somebody, Faraji talking to Dee Dee. Ain't nobody talking to me. They all talking over Herbie. But it's live radio. It's okay. Today is International Jazz Days. I've been telling you for the first couple hours of today's program. I do this for 3 hours every day. And we finally made it to the third hour. I've been promising you that Dee Dee Bridgewater would show up. You already heard it, so you know she's here. Again, today's International Jazz Day, and we've had just a great time, Dee Dee, playing some of the jazz masters. I've been weaving in and out of all 3 hours of conversations today with music. So we done played some Miles Davis, we played some Train, we played some Duke, we played Sarah Vaughan, we played Lee Morgan, we played Billie Holiday, and then some. I've been just weaving in some of the jazz masters in this show because I can. Any excuse to play jazz for 3 hours, weaving in and out of dialogues works for me. So that's just some of what we played. But now we've arrived at the point where I can actually talk to a jazz master, Dee Dee Bridgewater. I'm glad to have her here. Dee Dee, for stars, I love you. There ain't nothing you can do about it. How are you?
Well, I love you more, and ain't nothing you can do about it, Tavis Smiley.
You've been good. You've been
great.
good. Yeah,
I'm great.
Yeah.
God is good.
Yeah, I am so glad to hear you. It's been a few months, and more than a few months. I'm being funny, but it's been too long. But I'll always honored to be in conversation with you. This day, I was saying earlier, and I don't think you disagree with me on this. I was saying earlier that there is no greater export in the history of America than jazz. That is I think our greatest and grandest contribution to the world. You disagree on that?
I do not disagree. I'm in complete agreement on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jazz is, it's, first of all, it's become global.
Yep.
Jazz is the export that we have in the United States of America that was born here. It is our original music, and it speaks to everyone now. It is about humanity. It's about democracy. It's about freedom of speech and expression. And you can't get better than that.
Yeah.
It is our best ambassador.
No question. You are a caretaker of this art form. And if I were to hand the mic to you for just a couple minutes and say, give me a short speech, not on the State of the Union, but on the state of jazz, you'd say what?
I would say jazz is alive and well, and that the fact that we have this International Jazz Day, which was created by Herbie Hancock and UNESCO, is the biggest and best example of that fact. It is a music that is in constant change, constant movement. The expression is constantly changing. The hands that are on the music are constantly evolving. And it is just beautiful to be a part of this, our original music art form, and to be one of its ambassadors, to be one of the torch bearers and keepers of the vocal tradition of the music form.
Yeah, you are to be sure and to be clear a taste maker yourself, but I'm always interested in the taste of the taste makers. And we started this hour with that particular track from Herbie because Dee Dee said that's what she wanted me to start with, and whatever Dee Dee says, I do. So we played the track that Dee Dee wanted to start with. Of all the Herbie tracks, why that one? Why did you want to play that one?
Because Herbie was born in Chicago, and we are doing International Jazz Day here in Chicago, and Watermelon Man was a song that he was inspired by when he was living in Chicago, and when he was young, would hear the Watermelon Man coming down the alleyways of the apartment complexes where he lived. And he said that he was inspired by the cart and the horse going over the cobblestones and the sound of the man shouting out, watermelons, And so I thought that was appropriate to begin our conversation.
I'm glad you chose it. I've had this debate many times, and I must tell you that as many times I've had it over the course of my career, I've never lost this fight. And I've had some good people come at me, but to my mind, there is no city in America that has given us more great music artists across every genre than the city of Chicago. I've had folk fight me for L.A., fight me for New York, fight me for Detroit, fight me, but I win this fight every time. Across every genre, I don't believe there's a city in this country that's produced more great music artists than the city of Chicago. And it just happens to be the place that Herbie Hancock is from. And the place, as Dee Dee said, where they're celebrating International Jazz Day today. So I'm glad that Dee Dee Bridgewater is our guest. More with her when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This show was built for you, for the community, for the culture, for everyone who wants more than headlines, for everyone who wants meaning. Tavis Smiley has always believed that public media can change lives, and every single day, that's what he comes to work to do. You're listening to Tavis Smiley, your voice, your issues, your show.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Hi, I'm Fred Martin, founder of Compton Kids Club. I just want to talk about the authenticity and tell y'all about my homeboy, Tom Steyer. Tom is a rock star. When I met him, Tom gave a grant to schools in San Francisco. All the kids were on probation. We were flying instructors for 2 years to come and help those kids doing performing arts and turning their life around. Some of the kids that he supported, they've graduated from UCLA. Let's fast forward. Tom is in schools in Compton, hanging out with the kids in the piano classes. Brother Tom Steyer hangs out in the studio with us. These are the seeds that he's planted. This has nothing to do with elections. What's coming out of his mouth is not a campaign speech. It's authentic, and when he say he walks away from a business because he want to do his values, he ain't making that up because he's running for governor. This man is real.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
Your lips were like a red and ruby chalice, warmer than a summer night. The clouds were like an alabaster palace, rising to a snowy height. Each star its own aurora borealis. Suddenly you held me tight. I could see the midnight sun. I can't explain the silver rain that found me, or was that a moon miraculously found me. Suddenly the sky turned pale.
I'm tripping, Dee Dee. I'm sitting here with my head bobbing and weaving, listening to you. I forgot this is a talk show, and I just, I got pulled into your vocal, man. As a matter of fact, turn it up, Miles. Turn that up.
Oh my.
But after you were gone, there was still some stardust on my sleeve.
Yeah, the show must go on, as they say, Dee Dee. But you sound, man, you sound so good on that vocal.
I haven't listened to it in a while. Thank you.
How does it sound to you?
Wonderful. I must be honest. I think I like that voice. I think I'll keep it.
No. But I mean, I've talked to so many artists, as you know. I mean, I've been honored in my career to talk to pretty much everybody, and I'm always fascinated. Since you went to Let Me Follow You, I'm always fascinated by artists who record something in 1 year, and they don't hear it for many, many years, and when they hear it, it impacts them perhaps differently than it did when they first recorded it. And I've talked to many artists who, even in concert will play, because the fans love it, they'll play a particular song that's always on the playlist, right? Because they know if they don't play it, they're gonna get lynched before they get out that building if they don't play or they don't sing this song. But when they wrote it, it meant one thing. And then I remember talking to James Taylor. I love James Taylor, my dear friend. JT and I were talking one day just about some of the songs he wrote way back when. And now, he sings these songs at all these concerts. But 30, 40, 50 years later, the song doesn't even sound or feel or mean the same thing for him. He's lived it out of life in the interim, obviously. And so I say all that to say whether any of those experiences ever happened to you as the years go by.
Well, being a jazz artist, it's different.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a specific song that is associated with me. Maybe in a moment, if there's been an album released, I will get a request for a particular song, but it's not at that same level as a James Taylor, because I'm doing songs mostly from the American Songbook.
Sure.
And, so it's completely different. I have songs that I will do and keep them in my current repertoire because it's a song that really speaks to me, so, and then it is I who will make the decision that I don't want to do it anymore. If there's another song that moves me.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what is that song right now in your repertoire that is speaking to you?
Mississippi Goddamn.
Ooh, you went Nina Simone with it, huh?
Yeah, Mississippi Goddamn. I'm doing a repertoire of protest songs, socially conscious songs. And so Mississippi Goddamn, and then the other song is Dr. Billy Taylor's I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free.
Ooh.
Those are the two that really resonate with me and that resonate with the public. Yeah.
I absolutely love, and it's hard. I mean, this is really really unfair to say this, because her body of work is so prodigious. But there's something about that song. I wish I knew how it feels to be free. I mean, it is. I mean, Nina. I mean, she slays it when she performs it. But it is. I mean, it is the lyric. And I'm a lyricist. I mean, I love lyrics, as you know. But it's the lyric of that song, Dee Dee, that just every time I hear it, the lyrics of that song get me every time.
Yeah. Yes. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
And Dr. Taylor wrote those lyrics.
Oh yeah.
And and that came about in the early 1960s. I think he recorded it in 62 or 63. But that was right in the height of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
So it really had a potency to it. And, then Nina's delivery of it was stellar. And so, and what I am finding when I perform it is that the audience, I see people in tears.
Yeah.
So it's as moving today as it was, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
When you when you
go
perform
ahead.
it, I'm sorry. When you perform it, 'cause I haven't heard you do that yet. I gotta get to Chicago to see you, obviously, because I need to hear this.
Well, no, I'm not doing it here.
But wherever you're gonna be, wherever you're going next to sing it, I need to find you.
I have an album coming out with it on it in September.
Oh, okay. Well, then good.
Yeah,
maybe
so
I'll
get it to you.
maybe I'll wait till September.
I get it.
But
yeah.
well, first of all, you got to come back on in September when the album drops. You know that, right? So I'm booking you
Yes,
now for
I will
September.
do that.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
I'm booking
Yes.
Jay-Z, Faraji. Y'all heard that? She committed on the air. So
I committed.
Get her rebooked
on
in
air.
September. Yeah. But I'm curious. Because I love your stuff, as you know. When you sing, I wish I knew how it was before. Have you changed the tempo on it?
I do it with more of a gospel tinge.
Ah.
And so, yes, it's a different tempo than the way that Nina recorded it.
Right.
And because that's just how I hear it.
Yeah.
And I sing the two songs back to back. I sing Mississippi Goddamn first, and then I say to the audience, and Nina also recorded this song. And I described my relationship with Dr. Taylor because he was one of my mentors.
Yeah.
And then I allowed the pianist in my band to start it off and do about eight bars to set up the feeling.
Right.
And we go into it very soft, and then we build it, and it climaxes with a very, very heavy church kind of hallelujah moment.
I got to hear that.
You know?
I need to hear
Yeah.
that. I need to hear that, Dee Dee.
Yeah,
Can I
yeah.
just tell you one of the things I love about jazz artists, and actually a funny
crazy.
Well, no, that is true. That is true. But there's something about jazz. There are a couple of things. Actually, it's going to lead me to a quick Tony Bennett story that I'll share.
Okay.
Because I love Tony Bennett. But what I love about jazz artists, and you just did it here, so this is the case in point. I don't know that there's any genre quite like jazz artists who always, I mean almost always, because others could do this, but almost always jazz artists at their best take the time to tell you who wrote the song.
Yes.
And in so doing, it's not just shouting out Nina, who killed it, no question about it, but the fact that you actually reminded us that song was written by Dr. Billy Taylor. But jazz artists at their best do that, I think, more than any other genre. They're going to let you know who wrote this song.
Yes. Well, if you're dealing in the pop genre or the R&B genre, a lot of these artists have done their own. They're doing their own material.
A lot of them ain't though. Come on.
And then they have 10 songwriters.
That's right. Well, that's true. That part. Yeah.
That part. So yeah, there is that difference, but
yeah.
I think it comes with the respect that you find in the jazz world for the composers, for the authors. So for me as a singer of these American songbooks or whoever I'm doing, for me it has always been very important to say who wrote the song. For example, I'm doing I kind of honor Roberta Flack with Trying Times, and that's Donny Hathaway and Lord, now I'm having a brain freeze moment. Leroy Hudson.
Oh yeah.
From the Temptations.
Oh yeah.
I mean the Temptations. Isn't that me? Lord, I need more coffee. From Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions. So, but it's important because people just don't think about that, and they need to know. They need to know. They need to be reminded, because it's also, for me, it's about reminding people of our history and our culture.
Oh, no question.
So this allows me to do that.
Yeah.
When I say who wrote.
What
and give them maybe some background about what inspired them to do the song at that moment.
No, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the Tony Bennett story, which is not
Yes,
disconnected. Not disconnected, because Tony would always tell you, who wrote the songs he sang, of course. That was his way. But the thing I love about Tony Bennett, and I had the honor, he called me one day and asked me would I introduce him at the Bowl. He was making his last appearance at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh,
and he called me and asked me would I bring him on. And to this day, I get goosebumps just thinking about the fact that he called me at my house and asked me would I bring him on for his last Bowl performance. And I did that for 2 nights at the Bowl, and with just the time, just being with Tony Bennett on so many occasions, but just honored that he asked me to do that. But my point is that after every song, you seem, so you know this, after every song, Tony Bennett would take his microphone, stick it under his left arm, and applaud the audience as the audience applauded him. Dee Dee, that got me every time. I've seen him do it more times than I can count. But I'm like, but just the appreciation for his audience. He would take that mic, stick it under his left arm, and he would applaud the audience as they applauded him. And that just did something to me, man. I tell you, I love that gesture. I love that gesture of his appreciation for the audience. Let me ask you right quick. I'm watching my time here. He's getting away from me. I got 4 minutes left.
Okay.
What is happening in your world? And I say your world as opposed to the world. The answer may be one and the same. But what's happening in your world that's got you singing protest songs right now?
What's going on in the world?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I had the idea of doing protest songs came to me out of my indignation when the Gaza, the war in Gaza happened. And I said, I've got to do something. I've got to say something. And my spiritual voice said, put it in the music.
There you go.
So you don't make any political statements that could alienate your audience. Let the music speak for you.
Yeah.
And so that's how that came about. Now I do on occasion sing Strange Fruit. And I do I've created my own version based off of Betty LaVette's version that she wrote.
Oh yeah.
Of it, and where she treats it more like a blues. So I've taken it a little bit deeper. Now, doing that song, in particular, when I started doing it right after the pandemic, I did have people walk out of the theater.
Wow.
And also doing Mississippi Goddamn. I did. I would have, there would be a march out of the theater.
Yeah.
With people,
all these years later. All these years later.
All these
That's
years
crazy.
later.
That's crazy.
But that was that first.
Yeah.
The end of that first administration. But now what has been fascinating is that no one leaves.
Yeah.
And people come up to me afterwards and say thank you.
Yeah. I just talked to I didn't text her. I didn't talk to her. I texted her. We so Betty LaVette just had hip surgery. And so I was texting her.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. She check in on her. Yeah, I was just checking on to see how she's doing. But Betty is
okay.
Said she needed to do it years ago. Finally got around to it, but she's fine. She's fine. But Betty LaVette
that's good.
You mentioned her name. I thought
that's
she's amazing.
Yes.
I've only got 90 seconds to go here. Actually, less than that.
Okay. All right.
Chicago is the spot. Brag about Chicago in this festival. For 90 seconds.
Well, it's not a festival. It is International Jazz Day. It is a global celebration of this music that was born in our United States of America, and the fact that this music has become global. It was created by Herbie Hancock and UNESCO, and this is our 15th year that we are celebrating it. So we have 194 countries that are now celebrating International Jazz Day.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. So
and everybody's in Chicago. I mean, they're all there. Dee Dee's there. Terrence Blanchard, Dee Dee Bridgewater, Terry Lynn Carrington, James Carter, Emmett Cohen, Jacob Collier, Bella Fleck, Robert Glasper, Christian McBride, Marcus Miller, Gregory Porter, Diane Reeves. I ain't got time to read all the names, but everybody. Herbie Hancock, of course, lives right. Everybody's in Chicago celebrating International Jazz Day, and I'm glad that she could sneak out of her commitments for 30 minutes to just holler at me. Dee Dee, I close where I began. I love you like a fat kid loves cake. Hope to see you soon.
I love you, Tavis. I will see you soon. I got to use that one.
I'll see you. It's all yours. I'll see you soon. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
In a world full of noise, one voice cuts through. Tavis Smiley has never backed down from the hard questions, never shied away from speaking truth to power and to the powerless, and he's not about to start now. This is the show people talk about, the one your coworkers quote, the one that gets under your skin in the best way. Tavis Smiley, nationally syndicated, unapologetically progressive, unapologetically real.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments on the Trump administration's effort to end temporary protected status for Haitians. Family Action Network Movement's Paul Christian Namphy says conditions in Haiti remain unsafe.
This is a matter of human rights, safety, and justice.
The administration argues the decision isn't subjected to court review. A ruling isn't expected until this summer. The U.S. Supreme Court has struck down Louisiana's second majority black congressional district, ruling it was drawn too heavily based on race. The 6-3 decision weakens key protections of the Voting Rights Act and could impact redistricting nationwide. And Broadway and rap fans are seeing an early exit from Megan Thee Stallion. The rapper said she's leaving Moulin Rouge sooner than planned, just days after announcing her breakup with NBA player Klay Thompson. Her final performance is now Friday, with refunds offered to ticket holders. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Head to Waba Grill weekdays after 3 p.m. for their $5 happy hour and try their new chili crisp dumplings. Bold, crunchy, and tossed in a fiery crisp, paired with a premium Waba beverage drink like their authentic Thai tea. Get both for just $5 only at Waba Grill. It's for you.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
6 days ago, the Lakers were up 3-0 on the Houston Rockets and appeared to be ready to close them out for the season. Today, the Lakers are in the uncomfortable position of having to go back to Houston for Game 6 Friday night. The Lakers are in this position after losing to the Rockets 99-93 Wednesday night in Game 5 at Crypto.com. The Lakers have a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series, but their momentum at the moment is non-existent. Even without Kevin Durant, the Rockets still had their way with the Lakers defense. All 5 Rockets starters scored in double figures. LeBron tried to do his part with 25 points and 7 assists. Austin Reeves, playing in his first game since April 2nd, had 22 points off the bench, but Reeves' return had little effect on the outcome. Later today, the Lakers will board their charter flight to Houston. Along the way, they need to figure out how to get one more win against the Rockets. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Kishonna Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. Things are changing fast and no one knows what comes next. Times like these make you realize just how important it is to be prepared. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. They're America's #1 most trusted resource for survival food, solar power, water filtration systems, and more. Go to preparewithamerica.com to unlock a special offer that'll help you get ready for whatever comes our way. Go to preparewithamerica.com to see the special offer right now. That's preparewithamerica.com.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole round world. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree that every man should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give.
You know I couldn't resist that, right? Dee Dee Bridgewater and I were just talking about this track. Today is International Jazz Day, and Dee Dee is in Chicago with every other major great jazz artist to celebrate International Jazz Day, started by Herbie Hancock 15 years ago. And Dee Dee and I were just talking, in case you tuned in late, about her new album that's coming in September. And she was telling me that she's been singing, because of what's happening in the world right now, all these protest songs in her show. And she sings this song that she's recorded her version of, tempo a little bit different. That album drops in September, and so I look forward to her coming back on this program in September when the new album drops. But I am always looking for any excuse to play this song from Nina Simone. I wish I knew how it feels to be free. Dee Dee and I were just talking about the powerful lyrics on this particular track, sung by Nina Simone, but written by Dr. Billy Taylor. I wish I knew how it feels to be free. Nina Simone. We close today's program in conversation with Randi Weingarten, president of AFT, American Federation of Teachers. There are thousands of protests that are set for this week on May Day. Demonstrations all across the country, and so it is abundantly clear to me, and I suspect to you as well, that the fight back in this country continues. It's hard to imagine a moment in recent memory where we've seen this kind of sustained protest in this country. And to your mind, Randi Weingarten, that sustained protest in this country is about what exactly?
So first off, it's so great to be with you, Tavis. And the sustained protest is because people are really uneasy about what's going on. It's not just, it's not just the 1% of people, or the 3 or 5% of people that you would expect anytime that you see injustice, people, activists going to the streets. What you're seeing here is a different movement because it's a different moment. And what essentially happened at the beginning of this administration, how many times did we hear, well, remember the beginning of 17, the women's movement, there were all these protests. What happened now? What's happened is a lot of people either were depressed or they were giving him the benefit of the doubt, Trump, and they saw three things. The people who believed that, who never believed him, never believed that he actually had the interests of working people or the interest of Americans at heart. They, I think, were surprised that he got reelected. Then you had the large group of people who gave him the benefit of the doubt. And then you had a lot of people who just kept saying, oh, there's nothing to vote in America for. Why bother? And what you're seeing is that those three groups of people have now kind of coalesced to say, no, we have to fight this. Yeah. And that's why you're seeing this sustained protests. And whether it is gas prices or grocery prices or detaining our neighbors or killing or executing in cold blood, a union nurse or a, person who was just supporting people in Minnesota, Renee Good, or whether it's the Iran war, which people do not understand why we're there, or whether it is one more time taking away rights like the Supreme Court just did in the Calais decision yesterday. Yep. There is a sense that the billionaire class, aided and abetted by president who's much more concerned about his ballroom and his family's wealth than America's, than any working family in America, that it's time to do what Hungary did. It's time to both protest and it's time to stand up and it's time to vote. Yeah. And I think that's why you're seeing this kind of sustained protest from the millions at No Kings rallies to this week. This is the first time that we see union and non-union, that we see people who are members of unions, not just the activists, on a May Day saying, this is the economic protest that says my life needs to be more affordable. I need to be able to make sure that my family has a decent life. There's over 5,000 actions this week. I've never seen that. In the years that I've been involved in the labor movement, I have never seen a May Day with this kind of action.
So AFT is collaborating in and with the May Day Strong Coalition. Correct. For these nationwide actions on May 1, advocating for labor rights, as Randi just said, public education funding, community investment. The movement focuses this week on no work, no school, no shopping. No work, no school, no shopping, to highlight worker power and demand that billionaires, again, as Randi mentioned, pay taxes to fund schools and services. What's at the heart of what AFT is trying to do is what Randi calls civic revival. AFT is mobilizing, AFT and its members are mobilizing for civic revival when we come forward. I want to get Randi to unpack that term for me. It's a beautiful term. But what do we mean in a moment like this? We use the phrase civic revival. That is the question for Randi Weingarten, head of AFT, when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Every day, somebody somewhere is trying to silence the truth. Not on this show. For over 3 decades now, Tavis Smiley has been bringing you the conversations that matter, the voices that challenge, the ideas that move us forward. From the halls of power to the heart of the community, Tavis covers it all. Real talk in real time. This is Tavis Smiley.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-283-2427. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-283-2427, 800-283-2427, 800-283-2427.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. Ah, but looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want and skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
It's too darn hot. It's too darn hot. I'd like to sup with my baby tonight. Refill the cup with my baby tonight. I'd like to sup with my baby tonight. Refill the cup with my baby tonight. But I ain't up to my baby tonight, 'cause it's too darn hot.
Ella Fitzgerald on Tavis Smiley. Today is International Jazz Day, and we've been weaving in some of the best of these jazz masters. Miles Davis, Coltrane, Herbie Hancock, Duke Ellington, Nina Simone, Miles Davis, Sarah Vaughan, Lee Morgan, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald. Been weaving in some of the best of these jazz masters all day today as we celebrate International Jazz Day, which is going down today in Chicago, the home of Herbie Hancock, who established this day 15 years ago. Our guest right now, there's Randi Weingarten, president of the AFT, American Federation of Teachers, as we talk about all these May Day Strong actions taking place on May 1. The fight back continues. The protests are as real as rain. And at the heart of all this is what Randi calls civic revival. That's what AFT is mobilizing for, civic revival. And by that term, Randi, we mean what?
So what I've seen, Tavis, in this last year, look, I'm a social studies teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in civics. I'm a lawyer. The rule of law is, the key, that and voting and free and fair elections are the key to our democracy. But what I have realized in all my visits with community members and with educators, over the course of the last year in particular in trying to understand the why was Trump reelected, given all of what we know about him, is that when people heard us talk about fighting to protect a democracy or defend a democracy or what the founders wanted, they were hearing, if you're having stress in your life, what they were hearing is you fighting for the status quo, not fighting for a third way. Like the connection between voting and that is the first step to making things better. That connection wasn't made. And so when we talk about civic revival, we're talking about how we find a way to make democracy work for regular folks, which means that the first step is voting, but the second step is that the people we vote for who hopefully will win, what are they going to do to help make it better for folks? And so you need to connect the dots. You need to actually be a teacher. You need to teach about what civics really is and what the potential is and what the power is. And what we know, those of us who have learned history and those who watch authoritarians, is that they rely on four things. They rely on fear, division, isolation, and apathy. And they have done with social media and with all this disinformation, plus the fact that the middle class hasn't grown in the United States, it has shrunk. What has grown is income inequality. And so there's a lot of work we have to do to actually not simply say, the vote was so important for our forefathers and foremothers that they shed blood, sweat, and tears for it. Yes, that's an important argument. But what is the argument for today? And what is the potential of the vote, the connection of the vote to bettering somebody's life? And that's part of the connecting economic dignity and a voice, not only at work, but a voice in our politics.
Fear.
That's what I mean by civic renewal and civic revival.
I love it. Civic revival. Fear, division, isolation, and apathy. That's what they're counting on. But they're not getting that on May 1. No fear, no division, no isolation, no apathy. It's just protest. It's fight back for these May Day strong actions across the country. And when we come forward in our remaining moments, just a few minutes left with Randi Weingarten, we'll tell you what's actually going down on May 1 and how you can join in the protest. You're listening to Randi Weingarten on Tavis Smiley.
Who's sitting across from Tavis this week? Leaders, legends, game changers. The people shaping the country and the culture. They come to Tavis Smiley because this is where the real conversations happen. No spin, no fluff. Just straight talk and straight answers. Tavis Smiley. Because the kinky question, where do we go from here, starts right here.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Randi Weingarten. I've got 3 minutes left, Randi. Tell us what we expect to happen on May 1, how folk can tap in.
So, folks, there's 5,000 different events around the country. And if you don't have to be a member of ours, you can just come to our AFT website and you can get all sorts of different events. Just say May 1 AFT website. You can go to the May Day Strong website. You can see places all over the country, 5,000 that you can tap into. But the other thing we're doing, Tavis, is because of what just happened with this decision that literally eviscerated the Voting Rights Act, there is a email going out to all of our activists of the AFT. And last April, we had over 25% of our members had done an action already. So we're sending an email to all of our activists and saying they're trying to take away the vote. They are trying to take away free and fair elections. They are trying to dilute and erase history, erase what the effects of Jim Crow, and trying to dilute the enfranchisement of people who have long suffered. And so what we can do is let's check our registration to vote today. Let's make sure on May Day we are registered to vote. And if we're not registered to vote, we have a way to do it in 1 minute. And if we are registered to vote, let's get one other person registered to vote on May Day. So just like they are trying to take away our voice at work or our voice in our politics, let's make sure we take the step to register to vote. So I would say to everyone, just check the website. Yep. Every state has it. Let's see if you're registered. If you're not, we'll take you a minute or two to register to vote. And if you are, give that website to to a voting age member of your family. Give that website to a friend. Give it to a coworker. Let's make sure we meet their intention to diffuse our power with an intention to make sure we have power and a voice.
You can go to the AFT Mobilize page or type in May Day Strong. As Randi said, the information is available everywhere, but it's going to be a great day on May 1 with these 5,000 actions all across the country. As I said, the fight back continues, and you know what we say around here: when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. And again, the struggle goes on. Randi, thanks for your work and witness always. Good to have you back on this program.
Thank you, Tavis. Thank you for everything you do.
Just like that, 3 hours are gone. Tomorrow is Friday, so tomorrow the best of Tavis Smiley this week. Some great conversations this week. We'll reprise some of those for you tomorrow on these stations all across America. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in as always. I love it. The Colossus, that's my man. Sonny Rollins is International Jazz Day. What a way to close the show with some Sonny Rollins. Until next time, keep the faith.